Good afternoon, students. Today we will be discussing about the chapter Elements, Compounds and Mixtures. In class 5, students, you have heard about the word matter. What is matter? Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Anything that has mass and occupies space. This is the definition of matter you have learned. Today we will learn that matter is also divided into two parts. One is living matter, another one is non-living matter. So matter was classified into two parts. One is living matter, another one is non-living matter. So what is the meaning of this living matter? Living matter means me, you, your parents, your friends, the other living organisms like plants, animals, everything. These are all living matter. And another one is non-living matter. Non-living matter means, suppose you are holding the phone in your hand, that is a non-living matter. Suppose there is a chair in front of you, that is a non-living matter. You sleep on the bed, that is a non-living matter. So actually we are surrounded with non-living matters. That is what we call it as material or substance. So substance and material is also further divided. Let us know that. I am writing the non-living matter as a substance. Substance was divided into two parts. One is a pure substance, another one is impure substance. Why it was divided into these two parts? Because there were few substances which had some characteristic properties, but in case of these substances they didn't possess any kind of characteristic properties. Characteristic property means, suppose it has some kind of color, odor, smell, melting point, boiling point. These are all called characteristic properties. So pure substances have these characteristic properties, but impure substances do not have such properties. Now this pure substance was further divided into two parts. First one is called elements. Next part is called compounds. An impure substance was not divided, just it had one part which is called the mixture. In this chapter, students, you will learn many more new words, so don't get confused right now. We will learn about that. Now, what is this element and compound? Elements, obviously you can see that it is a part of a pure substance. So element is a pure substance which is made up of identical atoms. This element is made up of identical atoms. Now obviously you must be wondering, what is this new word called atoms? See, I have marked it here. You have already know that any matter or any material is composed of smallest unit, which is the molecule. But here we will learn a little bit in depth. Now each and every substance has the smallest unit, which is called the atoms. Atoms are the smallest unit of the matter which may or may not have the independent existence. What does that mean? Atoms are the smallest unit of matter, which may or may not have independent existence. Now, what does this word mean? We can understand from the word that atom is the smallest unit of matter. This is a new thing today we have learned. Now it is said which may or may not have independent existence. What does that sentence mean? Independent existence means it can exist in any state without anyone's help, or it needs someone's help to stay in a particular state. That means these atoms are the smallest unit, but it may not have their independent existence. That means they need to combine with someone or any some other material to stay in a basic nature. So what is the definition of elements now? Element is a pure substance made up of identical atoms. Now these elements also have one unique property. They cannot be divided into two or more simpler parts by any physical or any chemical means. So elements are made up of identical atoms and it cannot be broken down into simpler substances by any means. Here the word any means suggests that physical or chemical. Physical means suppose you are applying pressure on it to break it, or you are applying any heat to so that it can melt. So these are all physical means. So elements are not possible to break down by any physical means. Or suppose chemically you want to break them down. Suppose you want to react some chemicals with the elements, they will not break into any parts. So this is their unique property, and this is also the definition of elements. I am telling the definition of elements again. Element is made up of identical atoms which cannot be divided into simpler parts by physical or chemical means. Next we are coming to the compound. So what are compounds? Now compounds are made up of elements. We need elements to form a compound. So let us know the definition of compound first. Compounds are made up of two or more elements and they can be only divided into simpler forms by chemical means only. They cannot be divided by physical means, but they can be divided into chemical means. Why they can be divided? Because they are formed by combining the elements. That is why it is possible to divide the compounds. Now compounds can be only divided by chemical means, not by physical means. That you have to remember. Next we are coming to the mixture. Now what is a mixture? Mixture is formed by the combination of various compounds or various compounds and elements. If you combine elements and compounds together, or if you combine too many compounds together, you will get a mixture. Now if I give you one example for each. Suppose sodium. So sodium is an example of an element. It is denoted as Na due to its Latin name natrium. Now let us come to the compounds. Suppose ferrous sulfide. Suppose this is the name of a compound and we are denoting the compound with this symbol. We will learn about these symbols later on. Don't worry, we will learn about it. Next, suppose we are taking a mixture of suppose iron and sand. In sea beaches you have seen the sand. If you mix some iron particles with the sand, can you Is it possible for us to mix all everything, sand and iron? It is not possible for us. We can distinguish them. Suppose you want to mix iron and sand. So this is called a mixture. It does not get mixed with each other. It remains there with their own characteristic properties. I hope you have understood. Next, we will discuss about some characteristic property of elements. So, what are the characteristic property of an elements? First one is color. You have seen many colored elements around you. Yes or no? Let it be gas, let it be an element, doesn't matter. You can see colored gases. In movies also you have seen various colored gases. In our real life also we have seen various gases. Suppose if I give you one example, so hydrogen. Hydrogen or oxygen, if you take, this is the gas which we inhale. Can you tell me the color of this? Is it possible to say what is the color of these two gases? Because these are colorless, we cannot see them. That is why these gases are colorless gases. They do not possess any color. These are all colorless. Now suppose if I name another gas, suppose chlorine. This gas can be distinguished by its color. It has a unique color which is greenish yellow. If you mix green and yellow together, you will see some kind of color, the mixture of color. That is the color of the chlorine gas. So whenever you will see around us a greenish yellow gas, which suggests that it is a chlorine gas. If I give you another example, suppose nitrogen dioxide. This is also a colored gas. Can you tell me what is the color of that? Its color is reddish brown. The color of nitrogen dioxide is reddish brown. If you mix red and brown together, the color which you will get, that is the color of the nitrogen dioxide. So there are various gases which are colorless and there are various gases which have color. Next property, we are coming to the odor. Odor means the smell. Whenever in the class, suppose you smell a very odd odor, what do you say? So a bad smell is coming. Whenever you go by a drain, you get a very bad smell. That means that smell of those compounds or mixture, whatever is there in the drain, that is the odor of it. Odor means the smell. Suppose if I give you one element, suppose hydrogen. This is also a gas. Hydrogen, oxygen. When you smell, when you inhale air, that means you are inhaling oxygen. Do you get any different smell? No, because these gases do not possess any kind of smell. They are odorless. We call them as odorless gases because they do not have any kind of smell. But there are some gases which have very bad smell. In your chemistry lab, when you will grow older, you will learn about this gas. Hydrogen sulfide. It is a very bad smelling gas. The smell of a rotten egg. It smells very bad. The smell of it is rotten egg. So it has a unique smell or unique odor of it. That is why we can distinguish some gases because of their odor also. Apart from color, we can also distinguish the gases because of their odor or smell. Next characteristic property is the density. Next characteristic property is the density. So density means, density is the ratio of mass and volume. Density is the ratio of mass and volume. So right now you don't have to worry about these things, you just need to know about it. Density is the ratio of mass and volume, which actually which gives us the idea of how heavier the gas is or how lighter the gas is. When suppose we are inhaling oxygen, that means it is close to the earth's surface, so it is a heavier gas, means it is closer to the earth's surface. So using this property we can distinguish few gases which are more denser than air or less denser than air. Suppose we are dealing with more denser gases. Can you name what are the more denser gases? Obviously just now I have said oxygen. Oxygen is a very denser gas because it is very close to the earth's surface. And if I give you one example of less denser gas, you have seen the balloons. If you leave it from your hand, it will try to escape in the atmosphere. Those balloons are filled with some unique gases. Those are called noble gases. We will learn about noble gases later on. Let us know about the example. Suppose helium, or you can use neon. You have seen neon watches at home. It glows at night. So these are due to the property of this type of gases. So these gases are very, very less denser, and it rises up in the atmosphere very fast and it stays there. It does not come closer to the earth's surface. So like this also we can distinguish the elements using the property density. Next we are coming to the property malleability. Malleability means if you continuously beat, if you hammer a particular suppose this is an element, if I continuously hammer it with a hammer, it will try to become a sheet of paper. You have seen the men working in the factory, they are hammering the irons continuously to change the shape of it. So that is the nature of elements. You can hammer them to bring them to the sheets. That means we can write what is the main thing of this malleability property. It can be beaten into sheets. You can beat down any element in the form of a sheet. Next we are coming to the property ductility. Ductility means you can stretch any element to form a wire. You have seen the copper wires through which the electricity at our home comes. If you stretch the wire, it will, or suppose if I give you a bunch of copper, if you try to stretch it, it will become a small piece of wire. So this property of the element is called ductility. That means we can draw them into a form of wire. So these are some basic properties through which also we can distinguish between the elements. So I hope you have understood till this part, students. In our next video we will continue for the next part. Thank you.